Caravan and our contractors, partners in safety. At Caravan Ingredients, we are committed to providing a safe workplace for all of our employees, and we ask that your actions and conduct while on our site support these efforts. OSHA can cite all employers present, including contractors, for violations which expose any employee to dangerous situations or behaviors. If you have any confusion about our expectations or rules, ask before you act. Contact any manager for assistance or clarification. At no time should any contractor participate in, observe, perform, or do anything on site which could be considered unsafe or against company policies or procedures. We have a zero-tolerance policy regarding unsafe acts, and failure to follow the rules can result in removal from the site. Caravan does not have an active plant alarm system. It's critical that all contractors have signed in at the office and also scanned in using their ID cards in the case of an emergency. If there is an emergency or emergency drill, all contractors are asked to comply with the instructions of the Caravan leaders in the area. There are two different alarms used to notify the plant in the event of an emergency. The signal to find a shelter inside sounds like this. The tornado shelter for the plant is in the LP break room basement. The signal to evacuate the plant sounds like this. The fire or evacuation point for the plant is by the light pole at the four-way corner adjacent to the old DC field. We have emergency response teams in place in the plant, ready to deal with all plant emergencies, including fire, tornado, spills, or first aid issues. These teams include the maintenance department and lab, plus supervisors and coordinators, and you should contact them immediately in the event of an emergency. They can be identified via green hard hats. Emergency response kits are located throughout the plant in every control room. In the event of a minor injury, Caravan has first aid cabinets throughout the plant. You must report the injury to your Caravan representative and log all supplies used from the first aid cabinets. Certain personal protective equipment is required at all times in all areas of the plant. These include a hair and/or beard net, steel or composite toe shoes, a hard hat, and eye protection with permanent side shields. As a food plant, Caravan follows all standard good manufacturing practices. One of these practices includes using a hair, beard, and mustache net that covers all facial hair and ears. Any facial hair greater than 24 hours of growth must be covered. Hair nets must be worn to cover all hair and pull down over ears. It's also necessary to wear appropriate clothing, which may include pants or jeans. No shorts are permitted. Long-sleeve shirts are preferred and are mandatory in areas near the food lines. Gloves may also be required in certain areas. Buttons or other items which may become detached from your clothing are limited or not allowed in certain areas. In addition, no jewelry, necklaces, rings, bracelets, or watches are permitted. Cell phones can be used in the plant but should always be attached to a belt or kept in a pocket, but not a shirt pocket. No unapproved glass materials may be brought on site. Approved items include shatter shields, bulbs, gauge facings, and safety window parts for tanks and power lines. All food, water, drinks of any kind, gum, and tobacco products are not permitted in the plant, and everyone is expected to take proper hygiene steps before entering the plant. Hands should be washed prior to beginning work and after breaks, lunches, and restroom visits. Throughout the plant, you will see signs like this indicating that an entrance to the area is by permit only. Prior to entering any parts of these areas, you are required to contact Caravan Ingredients Management. Our lockout-tagout rules for these areas are in full compliance with the OSHA standard. You cannot enter any of the areas without following proper procedures. First, locate the supervisor or maintenance personnel for all lockout-tagout situations. Then, verify that any of the equipment in the area is not energized or hot and that the equipment will not operate. Finally, all lockout-tagout workers must apply a lock and keep the key for your protection. The lock should be marked with both your name and the name of your company. Barricades are available for use to keep a work area isolated. These barricades help prevent unnecessary traffic, keep employees safe, and alert everyone that changes have been made in the area. If necessary, you should protect any exposed areas beneath the work area as well. Caution tape cannot be used as a barricade in an area unless the safety manager gives prior approval. We also request that you do not cross other barricades and at the end of the workday, leave the work area safe and clean. If you are working more than 4 feet above the next level, you must have some form of fall protection in place. This could include either guardrails or a personal fall arrest system, a harness of some type with anchorage points able to withstand 5,000 pounds of force mounted appropriately to prevent injury. Fall protection is also required in aerial lifts. It is always required in articulating boom lifts and scissor lifts when personnel are leaning out of the lift or coming off of the floor. If you are doing hot work such as riveting, welding, flame cutting, or other fire or spark-producing operation, you must have a completed hot work permit issued for the day of your work, signed by a Caravan representative who has approved the hot work to be performed. This permit must be posted, and no work can begin without having the appropriate permit in place. All hot work must be completed 1 hour before leaving the site, and a final inspection of the area must be conducted by the Caravan employee sponsoring the work. All electrical tools used in the plant should be connected by a 3-pronged grounded plug and be double insulated. A GFCI, a fast-acting circuit breaker that protects against shock, overheating, fires, and destruction of wire insulation, and in a fraction of a second shuts off the electricity, should be utilized. No wooden-handled tools are permitted, and all tools and parts must be accounted for at the end of each job day or when work is completed. Ladders should only be used in compliance with the manufacturer instructions for usage. No wooden ladders are permitted. They should also be inspected before use and any defective ladders immediately removed. When ladders are not in use, they should be laid or otherwise secured to prevent them from tipping over. When climbing any type of ladder, follow these common sense safety rules. First, do not use the top step or rung. Second, maintain 3 points of contact when climbing. Finally, do not overreach. Your hips and shoulders should be within the ladder rails. Proper setup and using a ladder of the correct height is the key to safety on an extension ladder. First, make sure there is a 4:1 ratio of height to base distance of the structure being climbed. The ladder should overhang the top point of the structure by at least 3 rungs. If you're stepping off of the ladder, do so at the lowest possible point. Finally, inspect your ladder before and after each use. When using a stepladder, make sure the ladder is fully opened and the spreader bar is locked firmly in place. Use the steps only. Never step on the top of the ladder or the tray. You should be aware that fire retardant asbestos is used in selective areas throughout the plant. These include piping in the semi-works area, some piping in the LP hot oil boiler and LP boiler rooms, tank insulation in the tank farms, and in the chemical control area. We've worked hard to make the Caravan Chemical Control Program as easy as possible to comply with. Very simply, no chemical may be brought into this facility without the approval of the QC manager, production manager, EHS manager, or the operations manager. Any chemicals and supplies you need should be provided by Caravan and must appear on the chemical control list. A material safety data sheet for each product must be provided prior to bringing the chemicals on site. If you need to reference material safety data sheets for chemicals in your work area, Caravan Ingredients utilizes an online MSDS management system for easy review. Access and instructions to the system can be found in the label room in the shipping and receiving area. If you have any questions, please see your contact or a Caravan manager or supervisor. Contractor employees who operate equipment in our facility must be fully trained on that equipment and operate it in a safe manner. When moving equipment such as scissor lifts, articulating booms, and other large pieces, a spotter should also be used to guide the equipment safely to the destination. Equipment must be stored in a manner that does not block exits or impede production activities. Use of Caravan Ingredients equipment by contractors is not permitted. In some areas, primarily on tank farms, you will find crossovers or crossover points along a wall where a permanent step and platform have been positioned to allow safe passage over a wall or other obstacle. You are required to find and use crossovers and not sit and roll over walls. If your work will be performed in 3 days or less, you may be given a daily key card. This daily card must be picked up and returned each day. If you exit the site after your Caravan contact has already left, then return the card to the supervisor on duty that day. You can receive a permanent card if you work more than 3 days consecutively or 15 days within a 6-month period. You'll be able to keep this card in your possession, but depending on the length of time between workdays, the card may be deactivated during the off periods. You may qualify for a permanent card if you are working more than the minimum required. Any individual as well as the contracting company must be in good standing with Caravan with no outstanding issues surrounding safety performance, card key violations, or any other incident. We reserve the right to revoke card access to any individual at any time with or without cause. All contractors must go through this safety and procedures training annually to qualify for a permanent key card. Contractors will have their card activated only for those doors they are required to use for their jobs. Cards are assigned to just one person. Every individual must have their own card and they cannot be transferred to or used by multiple people within a company. Tailgating through gates or doors is not allowed for any reason. If a person does not have their original card, they must come to the front office and have a new card issued. Each individual must scan in through every door even if they are going through in a group, so we have an accurate record of anyone who has access to a particular area. At any time, if a contractor is asked to show their card, they are required to do so. Failure to comply with any of these rules may result in immediate dismissal from the facility. Multiple violations of the same offense by an individual or company may result in permanent dismissal from the facility. The rules for these issues are very specific and strictly enforced. Nobody under the influence of drugs or alcohol is permitted on site. No drugs or alcohol are permitted to be brought on the facility grounds, including inside your vehicle. Caravan is a non-smoking facility. Smoking is only permitted inside your car. We ask that you do not deposit cigarette butts on the ground. And no weapons are permitted on the facility grounds. If a knife is required for the work to be performed, the blade must be less than 3 inches long and it can only be on the site while work is being performed. All contractors must work within our standard hours of operation, which is 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. These hours can be extended because of the work or a special situation, but only with the approval of any site manager who is overseeing your work or by the operations manager. Once you have completed training on Caravan plant procedures, you must complete and have on file this information card. If a new individual is added to the database card system, this form must be completed and placed on file. Our goal for everyone at Caravan is to maintain the safest possible work environment. Thank you for participating in this training program and complying with all regulations.